Did the Titanic's band really continue playing as the vessel sank beneath the waters? Were the third-class passengers actually trapped below decks, left to fend for themselves? And were the characters of Jack and Rose based on real people? We're about to answer all these questions and reveal the little-known truths about one of the most iconic stories in history. What actually happened on that cold April night? Was the movie an actual depiction, or were the real-life events way different? Protagonists in the movie are undoubtedly Jack and Rose. But were Jack and Rose actually based on real people? Surprisingly, no. The characters of Jack Dawson and Rose DeWitt Bukater, played by Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, are largely fictional. While director James Cameron did model the character of Rose after American artist Beatrice Wood, she had no direct connection to the actual Titanic disaster. The movie's epic love story between Jack and Rose was a creation of Cameron's imagination, designed to captivate audiences and tug at their heartstrings. Was there a passenger named Jay Dawson on the Titanic? Yes, there was, but his first name was actually Joseph, not Jack. Joseph Dawson was a member of the Titanic's crew, working as a coal trimmer. Interesting until after he had already completed the screenplay for his film. Did the Titanic really split apart as it sank? Yes, for a long time, people argued a lot about this part of Titanic's history, as survivors told different stories. However, the discovery of the wreckage in 1985 provided definitive proof that the ship had split in two during the sinking. The wreck site revealed the Titanic's bow and stern sections resting separately on the ocean floor, approximately 2,000 feet apart. This aligned with the testimony of certain survivors, who had described witnessing the ship break in half as it went under. Another scene from the movie is when a massive funnel collapses into the water. So, did that really happen? Well, yes, as the ship began to sink, the first of its 4 massive funnels did indeed come crashing down into the water. As the bridge of the ship went under, the forward pressure caused the first funnel to fall forward, slamming into the waters below. The impact and splash of the funnel are believed to have killed several swimmers in the water, including the fictional character Fabrizio, Jack's friend in the movie, and the richest man on the ship, John Jacob Astor. Furthermore, the rush of water from the funnel's impact is said to have washed away 2 of the Titanic's collapsible lifeboats. Were the underwater wreckage shots actually real? Yes, in 1995, director James Cameron organized a series of dives to the wreckage site, 12,500 feet below the surface of the North Atlantic. Using specialized Russian vessels and submersibles, the filmmakers were able to capture breathtaking close-up footage of the Titanic's remains. They designed custom cameras and housings to withstand the immense water pressure, allowing them to document the wreckage in incredible detail. However, due to the technical limitations of the time, a few of the underwater shots had to be faked. Did the Titanic's owner really pressure the captain to increase speed? This is a bit of a gray area in Titanic history. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of the White Star Line, claimed that the Titanic was never traveling at full speed. Ismay stated that the ship's top speed was 78 revolutions per minute, and that it never exceeded 75 revolutions. However, some surviving passengers did report hearing Ismay pressuring Captain Edward Smith to increase the ship's speed. They even mentioned they saw Ismay flaunting an iceberg warning during a dinner. Did some of the passengers really choose to remain with the sinking ship? Yes, some passengers did make the heartbreaking decision to remain on board. One of the most well-known examples is the case of Isidore and Ida Strauss, a first-class couple. Isidore Strauss and his wife were offered a spot on lifeboat number 8. However, Isidore chose to stay behind, insisting that the women and children should be saved first. Ida, refusing to abandon her husband, also stayed behind. Eyewitnesses reported hearing Ida tell Isidore, "We have been living together for many years. Where you go, I go." The couple was last seen sitting on a pair of deck chairs, embracing each other as the ship went under. Moving to another touching moment from the movie. Did the Titanic's band really keep playing as the ship sank? Yes, they did. The Titanic's 8-member band, led by violinist Wallace Hartley, performed lively tunes on the boat deck even as the situation got worse. Tragically, all the band members died, but their act of playing until the end has become a legendary example of courage and sacrifice. Did ice from the iceberg really land on the decks? Yes, several survivors reported seeing that. One passenger, Mrs. Churchill Candy, recounted, "The first thing I recall was one of the crew appearing with pieces of ice in his hands. He said he had gathered them from the bow of the boat. Some of the passengers were inclined to believe he was joking, but soon the situation dawned on all of us." Another survivor, William Lucas, described seeing about a couple of tons of ice on the deck on the starboard side. Later on, the movie shows the third-class passengers locked below decks, unable to reach the lifeboats. So, did that really happen? While this wasn't entirely accurate, there is some truth to the situation. There were indeed gates that stopped the third-class passengers from accessing the other decks. However, these gates weren't in place to keep them from the lifeboats. Rather, they were to prevent the less clean third-class passengers from potentially transmitting diseases to the other passengers. At the time of the sinking, some stewards did keep these gates locked, waiting for instructions from above. Others did allow women and children from the third class to make their way to the upper decks. But the communication breakdown and lack of urgency meant that many third-class passengers were simply left to fend for themselves. Before moving on to the next question, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Coming back to another scene from the movie, did Officer Murdoch really take his own life after shooting passengers and accepting a bribe? In the movie, the character of First Officer William Murdoch is portrayed as turning his gun on himself after shooting 2 passengers who are rushing a lifeboat. However, this depiction was met with outrage from Murdoch's surviving relatives as well as historians. They argue that there was no evidence to suggest Murdoch ever took a bribe or committed suicide in that manner. While it is true that an officer did commit suicide during the sinking, it cannot be said with absolute certainty that it was Murdoch. Who created the iconic drawing of Rose in the movie? That was actually the handiwork of director James Cameron himself. He took great care in designing the look and feel of Jack's sketchbook, ensuring that the drawings had an authentic, hand-drawn quality. In fact, Cameron personally sketched all of the drawings we see in the film. And while we're talking art, were any of Pablo Picasso's paintings lost with the Titanic? No, that's not the case. In the movie, we see Rose showing genuine Picasso paintings, while her fiancé Cal remarks that the artist won't achieve much. However, the truth is that there is no evidence of any Picasso paintings being aboard the Titanic. Did Captain Smith actually go to the bridge to await his fate? Well, there are conflicting accounts when it comes to the final moments of Captain Edward Smith. The movie Titanic shows the captain entering the bridge and grasping the wheel as the ship goes under. This portrayal is based on the account of passenger Robert W. Daniel, who claimed to have seen Captain Smith on the bridge just before the ship disappeared beneath the waves. Historian Robert Ballard also supports this version of events, stating that Smith went to the bridge at 2:17 a.m., 3 minutes before the Titanic went under completely. However, other survivors testified that they saw Captain Smith in the water wearing a life jacket. Some even reported that he had committed suicide by shooting himself. Sadly, Smith's body was never recovered, leaving the exact circumstances of his final moments a mystery. And that brings us to the final moments of this video. Did any of these Titanic facts surprise you? Let us know in the comments below. And before you head out, don't forget to take a look at our other videos where we unravel the truth behind lots of other movies.